I was sitting at home pretty upset and dire need of an uplift. I decided that it might be a good time to get a new video game in order to cheer me up. However, it was pretty late at night, and I was already in the middle of a few games, so I didn't want to start something that was too long. That's when I found this game. I'm Youngster Skaymore, and today I'm reviewing Princess Remedy in a World of Hurt. Princess Remedy in a World of Hurt is a PC game that was originally created by developer Ludosity during a 48-hour game jam. It was then polished up and given a few more features for its official release. As a result, the game is pretty small in scope. The graphics, for example, are very simple. The pixel art is very uncomplicated, each character is usually only one color, and most of the game takes place against a black backdrop. However, the graphics get the job done, and they are honestly quite charming. Each playthrough of Princess Remedy is only about an hour long, but that doesn't prevent it from being an amazing, jolly experience that jam-packs every minute with kilotons of fun. As the game begins, Princess Remedy has just graduated from healing school. Recently, Remedy's friend Fralin left to heal Prince Hingst, but she never returned. Now, Remedy must descend into Hurtland and build her skill in order to heal Prince Hingst and find Fralin. After this brief exposition, Remedy descends into Hurtland. On her journey, she travels through many places, kindly helping anyone who is in need. In Princess Remedy, the overworld has multiple different sections. Each section contains multiple areas that you can explore and talk to people in. Thanks to the funny dialogue and the great music, exploring the world is a constant delight. The other pillar of the game is the combat. If you talk to someone who needs to be healed, they will first spout a witty one-liner describing their affliction. Then, you will go to another screen for the combat. After you win, the character visibly looks much happier, and they say another line of dialogue about how they're healed. It's often funny, because their problem is not solved in the way you'd expect. For example, one character complains about stinking a little. Then, after you heal him, he'll be happy, because now he stinks a lot. Combat exists as a top-down, 2D shooter in which both you and the enemies walk on a 2D grid. You walk around to avoid enemies and their attacks, but your attacks are always shooting in the way you are walking. You also have a powerful bomb projectile that in the beginning you can use once per fight. Your health slowly refills during each fight, though you will have full health every time you start a new one. Since fights are plentiful but very short, Princess Remedy makes a wise decision for the music to remain consistent from exploration to fights. This adds to the carefree happiness of the game, really allowing you to sink into its vibes. Even if you lose, you simply have to talk to the character again to retry, and the music keeps on going. As the game progresses, more and more enemies will appear in each fight, making it more difficult. New enemies are also gradually introduced throughout. Furthermore, a lot of the variety comes from the different layouts of enemies and barriers. There's always different strategy each time, thinking about which way to go first, what enemies to prioritize, and when to use your bombs. It's a great feeling when you try and try a bunch of times until you finally figure out a way to win the fight. In addition to the enemies, there are breakable barriers, which add even more strategy. Sometimes you need to break them in order to shoot an enemy, but sometimes that will also give enemies access to you. Sometimes you decide when to break them, but sometimes you might break them by accident, and that's when all hell breaks loose. The combat may seem simple, but it's very joyful, and actually, the thought involved adds a lot of depth. Also, your health, power, multi, regen, and flasks are constantly getting better. Your health, pretty self-explanatory, is the amount of damage you can take. Your power is the amount of damage each of your shots does. Your multi is how many shots you shoot at once. Your regen is how quickly your health refills. And finally, your flasks are the amount of flasks, or bombs as I call them, you can use per fight. The way you improve your stats is through exploring. When exploring the various areas of the game, you will find treasure chests lying about. Some of them are out in the open, some are tucked away, and for some of them, you have to find a hole in the walls or other scenery that you can walk through. Each part of the environment that you can walk through has a little mark on it, forcing you to keep your eyes peeled. Each chest will power up one of your stats. The only thing I don't like about this is why are there treasure chests randomly lying about in the middle of towns? This doesn't really make any sense. In addition to improving your stats in this way, you will also get an extra unit of health every time you successfully win a fight. Speaking of bad things, I only have a few minor complaints with this game. It is pretty disappointing that there are no boss fights in the game, with the exception of the final boss, which is fantastic by the way. Also, for whatever reason, there's always a little black square under Remedy, even when the background is not black. I also hate the characters that, particularly in the beginning, tell you what button to press, which makes no sense in the game's world. Later areas in the game are blocked by gates. To progress, you need a certain amount of hearts. Princess Remedy very occasionally became mildly frustrating when I just needed 1 or 2 more hearts, but I could not for the life of me find any more chests or anyone else to heal, so I had to search through the whole game up until that point just to find the 1 heart that I had missed. I think it would have been better if there was a little leeway regarding the gates. For example, if there were 40 hearts available up until that point, you should only need like 37 to pass. Another minor issue arises with pausing. For some reason, instead of using a separate button, you pause with the same button that you interact with the environment with. If someone is in front of you and you press the button, you talk to them. If not, you pause. This is confusing design that resulted in me pausing accidentally every once in a while. It's also confusing at first how you are supposed to leave the pause screen, though this is only a minor issue. Finally, I did have a small issue with the plot near the end, but I'm not going to comment on it for the sake of spoilers. Despite being only about an hour long, Princess Remedy has a fair amount of replayability. The game has 3 difficulties: normal, hard, and expert. In most games, it often isn't worth it to play again on another difficulty, but in this game, on higher difficulties, the enemy layouts are completely different. As a result, the combat is all new on the second and third time around. Playing normal, hard, and expert consecutively provides a great difficulty curve. In total, I spent a little over 4 hours on my first 3 playthroughs, including my expert playthrough, in which I went for 101% completion. Princess Remedy in a World of Hurt is a short, compact game, but I loved nearly every second. The exploration is fun, the combat is exciting, the writing is funny, and the music is great too. On top of that, the game is completely free. That's right, it costs $0, and due to the minimal graphics, I'd bet that you can play it on pretty much any modern laptop or computer. With its short length and its non-existent price on Steam, it has one of the lowest barriers of entry of any game. Princess Remedy in a World of Hurt is an absolutely wonderful game. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching. This is only my second review on this channel, the first being Shovel Knight, but I plan to do many more from here on out, so stick around. If you're looking for another scripted video, I recently uploaded my top 10 most anticipated games of 2018, so feel free to check that out. If you've played Princess Remedy, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to stay tuned. As always, I'm Youngster Skaymore, and I will see you guys next time.